Hey, how are you? Before we get started, I want you to make sure that you have everything that you need. So you need to get your binder that has everything in it. Make sure that you have a pencil in case we make it far enough for you to use a pencil, and your lip cards and everything else that came with your binder. So go grab that if you don't have that yet. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. All right, so we always begin a very first of our lesson and we say, our beforehand is our left hand. Our afterhand is our right hand. Good. We say that because that's the direction that we read, from left to right. So it's our beforehand is our left hand, our afterhand is our right hand. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this page. I, what does I represent? It represents initial, and initial means first. So if we look at our alphabet, what is the initial letter of the alphabet? A. A is the initial letter because it's first. What does F represent? Final, and final means last. So what would the final letter of our alphabet be? Ooh, that would be Z, the final or last letter. Nice. Okay. What are the two middle letters of our alphabet? Do you remember those? It'll be M and N. Good. And how many letters do we have in the alphabet? Do you remember? 26 letters. How many sounds can we make with those 26 letters? Do you know that? The 44 different sounds we can get out of those 26 letters. All right, now what I'd like for you to do is in your binder, find your alphabet page that was in the pocket. Remember, your alphabet page has a before line and an after line. And we're going to say the alphabet together. So put your before finger on A and your after finger on N, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Good work. All right. So, once again, let's review. What's the initial letter of our alphabet? A. What's the final letter of our alphabet? Z. And what are the two middle letters of our alphabet? M and N. Good. Now, we're going to go to our reading decks, and we're going to start off with our letter names that we've studied so far. And say these with me. T, B, D, P. Good. Those are the ones that we've studied so far. Now, let's pick up our keyword and picture cards here. Okay, on these we say the name of the keyword and then we give the letters sound. So here we go. Bat, B. Table, T. Pig, P. Dog, D. Nice work. And remember, we don't put the after the sounds on our letters. Okay, so we've done our reading decks. Now, I want you to listen to 3 words, echo them after me, and tell me what sound you hear that is alike in these words. So listen carefully, okay? And our words are it, dip, bid. Okay? It, dip, bid. Did you hear what I heard? In those, each of them had a sound that said I. So listen to them again. It. Did you hear I? Bid. There was an I. And dip. Each of those have the I sound. Now, if you have a mirror with you, I want you to look in that mirror. If you don't, just think about what part of your mouth is working when you say I. Say it again. I. Well, our lips kind of go into a smile. Our mouth is open. Okay, good. And, okay, put your hand right here. Let's see if that's voiced or unvoiced. I. I can feel my throat vibrating, so it must be voiced. I. We have to stop it when we make it, okay? So it's a stopped sound, not a continuing sound. And is it open or blocked? I. It's open. There's nothing blocking our sound. I. Good. And this sound is called a smiling vowel sound because if we say I, our mouth goes into a smiling shape. All right, so I'm going to move these up here. So our new sound that we're studying is called a smiling vowel. I'm going to write some words down now, and here we go. Let's use red today. And we heard the word it and the word dip. Did you hear the I in that one? And we heard the word bid. So I'm going to write that one. Whoops, my line got a little funny there. Now, what kind of letter do you see that's alike in each of these words? I see an I and an I. They all have an I. And what kind of letter do you see after the I? I see a T after that I, a P after this one, and a D after this I. These letters are consonants. So this is a vowel that has a consonant after it. And if you have a vowel in a word that's followed by a consonant, it's called a closed syllable. So that's something new that we're going to learn today, that when you see an I before a consonant, that's called a closed syllable, and this vowel will make its short name, which is I, or its short sound, I. Okay, let me show you a picture here real quick, just a sec. Okay, look up here in the corner. I'm going to uncover something, and if you'll see, that says a vowel that's followed by a consonant. That's called a closed syllable. Its sound will be short, and we coat it with a breve. And I think you might remember us saying that before when we'd say a vowel and a closed syllable is short, coat it with a breve. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, as always, our vowel sound, or our sound, has a picture to go with it. So I want you to listen to my clues for the picture. Now, this is a structure and it has a dome shape. Dome means like this, if you can look down at me. A dome shape. Now, there are some people in the Arctic region that use these dwellings or houses when it's very, very cold. Okay, it's usually made of blocks of snow that provide insulation against the cold. Do you know what that would be? pull up my picture here. Did you guess? It's an igloo. So when we see the letter I and it's in a closed syllable, that means a consonant closes it in, we have the word igloo to remind us that we say I for the short sound of I. Let me go back down here. All right, and I wanted to show you a little picture. Do you remember that we had a picture like this up in my classroom? And it has some little short vowels here, and they each have a breve over them. And this closed door is to remind us that, and you see a C on here, and that stands for consonant. If we have a consonant after an A, E, I, O, or U in a word, or in a syllable, that syllable is going to be called a closed syllable. And that means that your vowel sound is going to make the short vowel sound. So a vowel in a closed syllable, see the door is closed, okay, says its short name, where a vowel in a closed syllable is short. And what do we code it with? Anytime you see it, we code it with a breve. And if you'll notice, we have our 5 vowels here. A, E, I, O, U, and those sounds would be their short sounds when they're in a closed syllable. All right, let's go on to our next section. For this, you're going to need to open up your book, or your binder, I mean. And on your binder, we're going to be using page 11. So I'm going to circle that up nice and big. So open up to page 11. You'll need to grab your pencil and we are going to practice making the cursive letter I. Now before we begin, I want you to look. You have instructions up at the top of your page 11, and these instructions are the hand movements that we make when we make the letter I. And it says we're going to use an approach stroke of a swing up stop, pull down straight, and then do a release and dot. So I'm going to grab a skinny pen here and grab my skinny one. Okay, and I'm going to show you one time how that looks. So we always start on the baseline for lowercase cursive letters. The baseline has the little arrow here. And then we would swing up, stop, pull down straight, release, dot. Good. Now pick up your pencil and we're going to do this. Okay. So name this letter while you trace it. So I. Remember to trace down nice and straight, release, and dot. Let's go next door. Say the name while you make another copy. Okay. So we're going to start at the baseline. I. Let's say it sound too. I. Don't forget to make your dot. Next one. I. And a dot. Good job. Now, let's go back and let's review just a little bit here. Okay, so we have, whoops, let's do this. Come on back here. There we go. We have the letter I. We have the picture igloo, I to go with it. And you have a homework page here now. So put a check mark up at the top. You're going to make as many I's as you can. Check and see which one would be your best one and circle it. So then you know that you've practiced the letter I in cursive. Okay. Now, let's turn the page. And we have a code and read that we're going to do together. This is on page 12, so make sure that you're on page 12. And we're going to look at these. We're going to code them first, the whole entire line, and then we're going to practice reading them. So with your pencil, let's go together. And we say, we always find the vowel and code it first. A vowel in a closed syllable is short, code it with a breve because that was an I closed in with a P. Next one, a vowel in a closed syllable is short, code it with a breve. It was closed in, wasn't it? There was a B closing it in. And look, there's a word we've seen before. A vowel in a closed syllable is short, code it with a breve. Let's read these. Pip, bib, it. Good. Let's do line 2 now. So, a vowel in a closed syllable is short, code it with a breve. A vowel in a closed syllable is short, code it with a breve. A vowel in a closed syllable is short, code it with a breve. Let's read these. Tip, did, bit. Good. Now, you get to do, so circle number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. This is a check mark page, which means it's a homework page, and I want you to code these words and read them to somebody. If you don't know the word right away, practice sounding it out. Like on number 2, if you didn't know what it said, you could say each letter sound. T, I, P, and do it a little faster. T, ip, t, ip, tip. Come and let's practice on this one. D, id, did. This one too. So you would practice like this. You would say the sounds b, I, t, and then you'd get them blending faster. B, it, bit, bit. Okay, good. So I want you to practice with these, code them, and read them to someone. All right. Now, let's go back to this, oops, not this page. Let me grab another page here. This page right here. Okay. And we're going to, hang on just a moment. All right, I found the right page here. And what I'd like for you to look at is this word. And yes, this is a word. If I put a capital I here, this is the word that represents if you were talking about yourself. I. When we use I and we're writing and we're talking about ourselves, we always capitalize that letter. Now this letter doesn't say I. If you see the capital I by itself, and it's capitalized and it's a word, you have to say the sound I for it. And that's called a long vowel sound. And the reason this makes the long vowel sound is because it's not closed in. Look after it. Do you see any consonant after it? There's no consonant after it. This is a new rule that we're going to talk about today. This is called an open syllable word. And when you have an open syllable, that means your vowel doesn't have any consonant closing it in. And if it's in an accented syllable, and an accent is when we say that part of a word when it's louder, longer, and stronger. We'll talk about that a little bit more some other time, but a vowel that's in an open syllable, it can escape. There's nothing closing it in. It's long, and we code that with a macron. And we have a picture for that too. So let me come down here. Let me uncover my picture. And look, it looks a little bit like our other one, only these vowels are taller because they're long. They're not short. And look at the door. It's open. And see, we have an accent by there too. So if you have a vowel in an open accented syllable, it's long. And we code it with a macron, just like the letter I. I can scoot that up a little bit. The letter I, or the word I. So I have both of those things here. So the things that we talked about today are that if you have a vowel in a closed syllable, it's short and you code it with a breve. That means it had a consonant after it. If you have a vowel that's in an open syllable, it doesn't have a consonant closing it in. It says its long name, which is the name we call it, and you code it with a macron, which is a straight line. One more thing we're going to do before we leave is I would like for us to go over your instant words. These are words that I need you to practice probably daily this week. So I want you to practice these words until you have them memorized. And the reason we do that is because these words happen a lot in your reading. And I hope you've been able to do a lot of reading over the holiday, or I guess you'd call it a holiday, wouldn't you? Or our staying home time. These are going to be found behind your tab. And remember, you have a tab at the back of your binder, and that's on page 8. Turn to page 8. This is going to be a homework page because I'd like for you to try to read these words every day this week or every day for 5 days in a row to somebody. And it's up at the top, it says instant words 1 through 10. I'm going to go through line 1 with you, but as you read them this week, you'll do line 1 and line 2 and line 3 and maybe even try to do them faster and faster as you go through the week. So let's look. Point to number 1. I hope you've already made it to page 8. If you haven't, pause for a second and get there and then start the video again. But on number 1, let's say these together. You, and, it, of, that, to, is, in, the, Remember, on the and you can also say them the and a, but the way I teach it is the other way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something fun that maybe even you could do. Let's go backwards through the list. And I'll do an I say, you say after me. The, in, is, to, that, of, it, and you. Good. Now, you had a few homework pages. I hope you put a check mark on each of those. And remember, this page is going to be super important this week. You're going to learn these words and learn to recognize them instantly. That's why we call them instant words. Recognize them instantly so that when you're reading, these are the words that won't stop you while you're reading, okay? They'll keep you going because they happen a lot in the books that we read. Well, we've come to the time where I'm going to need to say goodbye. This is the only video that we had for the week of April 27th through May 1st. I hope you had a good time. I hope that you study up on these words and that you have a great rest of your week. I miss you, but I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.